Hi, this is Joe again with another review. First thing, in this video I'm going to be discussing the 1991 film Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So of course Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator, Linda Hamilton, I think it was Robert Patrick played the other Terminator in the film, which we're going to get into. Of course we're going to discuss the movie. And I forgot the name of the kid who plays the young version of John Connor. Of course, this film is, of course, a direct sequel to the first Terminator film, which came out in 1984, which I previously reviewed. And it took 7 years before they did a sequel. Now, I don't know why, and that is a real long time before a sequel of a film comes out. I think one of the longest stretches. I think the longest stretch had to be with the Hannibal sequel, which took about 10 years. But technically, yeah, it took about 10 years. This one only took like 7 years, but it's a really long time. And it's surprisingly that there was even a sequel that came out. Because I think it had to be delays because Schwarzenegger was making movie after movie after movie after the first Terminator film. So they did like Commando, they did like Predator, they did so much other things. And I guess that he wasn't available to do a sequel, or they try to make something work. Because it's time paradox movies, you get a headache trying to figure out, the whole thing. But after 7 years, they finally came out with a sequel. And not only that, but this was, except for maybe possibly The Silence of the Lambs, this was the biggest money-making film in 1991. I mean, it broke all kinds of records at that time. And not only that, but also won, I believe, in the next Academy Awards, and won all the technical stuff for the special effects, and rightly so, because it really, really did deserve the Oscars for the special effects for this film. It was really, there was just before the CGI really became a big thing, and it was really, really terrific work. And because the Industrial Light and Magic did the magic and the special effects in this film. So it was really terrific. Of course, technically, even though, like I mentioned earlier, the movie took 7 years after the original, but in the Terminator universe, it actually was 11 years later. And Linda Hamilton's character, Sarah Connor, was locked up in an asylum because after all the events that happened in the original film, she told people to look what happened to her and what was going on in L.A. Now the cops. There was one precinct, in the famous scene in the precinct where all the cops were killed, and all kinds of other explosions, and other people named Sarah Connor were also killed by the original Terminator. And we'll get into that in a minute. So she was locked up in an asylum, and her son, John Connor, who of course is now since been born and living with a foster family, at first he didn't believe in the baloney that her mother. His mother was saying about what the Terminator was going for, and maybe eventually get to him, or kill him, or eventually come back from the future and kill him. And so he didn't believe any of that crap. Well, sure enough, another Terminator shows up, once again by Arnold Schwarzenegger, with a different mission this time. This time, Schwarzenegger's Terminator, which was the T-101, was assigned by John Connor in the future to come back in 1991 to protect John Connor, so he could lead these rebellion in the future, in 30 years from now. Confused yet? Meanwhile, the Terminator program by Skynet came out with a new Terminator, the T-1000, played by Robert Patrick, and this one is like a gelatin liquid Terminator who could transform himself into any living being, which is more dangerous, more deadlier than Schwarzenegger's model. And when Schwarzenegger meets up with John Carter, he says, well, look, there was a different model that went after your mother in 1984, and with different, and with the same model but a different Terminator, and programmed differently than that one. And before, the other model was assigned to kill your mother. I've been assigned and been ordered to protect you from you in the future. From John Carter in the future, send me back to the past to protect you. So that's my job. It's going to be protecting you from this other Terminator. And so I can take orders from you and you alone. So John Carter's a little kid, like a 12 or 13-year-old kid, says to him, look, I don't want you to kill anybody. The only one I want you to possibly kill is, of course, this Terminator. Stop him any way you can. But I don't want you to kill any people. And he goes, oh, why? Because I said so, that's why. Pretty much. So, of course, when the T-1000 does attack them, that's when all the big action scenes come, and the action was like upped up more than the original film. The original film did have great action. Of course, during this time, when the first Terminator came out, it was one of the first, not the first movie that upped all the action and has very, very little plot. But at least the Terminator movies, they do have a plot, but they focus a lot more on the action sequences. And Jim Cameron, who wrote and directed this film as well as the original Terminator film, he always focuses on the action sequences. And of course, Jim Cameron was also the co-writer for the second Rambo film in 1985. So Jim Cameron wrote a lot of the wrote all the action scenes for Rambo 2, as well as the action sequences in the first two Terminator films. And so he was great in that, but he also had to put in the plot. And so that's why the plot for these Terminator films were always confusing yourself because of the time paradox stuff. But despite that, it does work for these movies because they do explain everything. They do enough explanations in this film about what's going on, why is it happening, and all this stuff. And meanwhile, Sarah Connor manages to escape, and that's when John Carter, the son, says, "Hey, I want to get my mother out of there." And Schwarzenegger's Terminator says, "Look, if you go there, this other Terminator might show up and kill her, and maybe get you too." And so John Carter convinces him, "Look, we gotta go get her out, so we can protect her as well as me." And reluctantly, Schwarzenegger agrees to that, and they do get them out. And that's when you have one. I think it was like the second actual fight between the T-1000 and Schwarzenegger's Terminator. So you had two Terminators fighting each other, and that part made it, interesting, made it cool, to see the two Terminators fighting each other, and that's what I think was what makes this movie work, because you have a good Terminator versus an evil one. Unlike in the original film, we just had one Terminator plus a guy sent back to stop him. That was in the original film. This one is like two actually Terminators, or an older model, whereas the brand new model fighting against each other. But unfortunately, it's what you're going to have in the third movie too, a similar thing. But I'm going to review that movie when I revisit that film again. Anyway, you see them sticking with the second film. They do escape, and they do have a real big lull about what between the fight scene when they break Sarah Connor out in the asylum, and now because the psychiatrist in the asylum at first for most of about half the film until when Sarah Connor gets broken out, when they eventually break her out of the asylum, that he didn't believe her at all. The psychiatrist didn't believe Sarah Connor at all. Until, of course, when the T-1000 model, the Robert Patrick Terminator, comes in, he literally goes right through the bar. Because he could transform himself, he could go through any walls, without making a giant hole in it like Schwarzenegger can, and you transmute it into liquid gel stuff, which is what really made the special effects work. It was mostly with him. And on the T-1000 Terminator, I should make that point clear. So when they finally break her out, and they finally had a real big fight scene towards the end, where the T-1000 and Schwarzenegger's Terminator were kicking each other's asses to the point where there's one particular point, the line where it's the "Hasta la vista, baby," which is like the big catchphrase. And the first movie was "I'll be back," and when Schwarzenegger goes into the police precinct in the original film, this time you got "Hasta la vista, baby," which was what John Connor says. So it was when you have to come up with a good line to go after somebody if you're going to a fight, and a big line. And you say "Hasta la vista, baby." That's how Schwarzenegger got that line from. And then, of course, when he says it in the movie, of course, that was the big. Everybody was quoting that, from The Simpsons to, I think maybe Family Guy did that as well. Quoted "Hasta la vista, baby," and the parody of it. And that was one of the biggest parodies ever. Was saying "Hasta la vista, baby" from Terminator 2. Anyway, we finally had the big scene, and the second one was finally destroyed by bringing melted metal. I should also mention that part of the subplot, because the movie is about maybe 25 minutes longer than the original. Part one of the subplots was trying to destroy Skynet, because they found out that Skynet kept a part of the original Terminator arm, and one of his arms they kept in the Skynet, which is the company which eventually becomes Skynet, which develops the Terminator cyborg machines. So they had the idea of destroying it, destroying Skynet, destroying the building, destroying every evidence to stop the Terminator program, which eventually they do destroy in this movie. So, which they eventually were successful in doing, was blowing up the building, blowing up all the files, all the records, all the parts. So eventually, like the first movie, when they were in this weapons factory, it was some type of factory. They were building machines in this factory. They go to another factory, which destroys the T-1000 Terminator. It was like in melted lava, I guess is the best way to, or melted lead. He melts in there, the T-1000, and then think, okay, all the parts are now the site we were successful in doing it, and then the T-101 on the Schwarzenegger Terminator says, look, I have to be destroyed too. And both Sarah Connor and John Connor says, what? And John Connor, who developed like a father-son bond with the Schwarzenegger Terminator, says, why do you have to destroy yourself for? He said, well, because I have the other chip in my computer, my cyborg brain here. So I have to be destroyed too. That way all the things would be destroyed. And of course they reluctantly allowed him to destroy himself. Look, I cannot commit suicide. You have to be the one who pushes the button that set me down. So Sarah Connor says, oh, okay, do that. And of course she does do that. And Schwarzenegger, of course, surprise, spoiler for those of you who didn't see this movie, he does destroy himself, kill himself at the end of the film. And that's pretty much how the movie ends. And I thought this was for the first time that I've seen this movie, believe it or not. It took me about 28 years to see this movie, and I thought it wasn't bad. I did like the first movie, I did like it. And I liked the second film because even though it has over-the-top action sequences and the action sequences were way too long, and without any the explanations like few and far between in this film, but at least the film plot makes sense in these movies. Even though it focuses like my recent complaints about the Captain America films, when they focus more on the action, you can see the same thing in the Terminator films. But at least they have a plot which explains when they give you a chance to breathe from the action scenes, at least to give you a plot or an explanation of what's going on in those films, in the Terminator films, which is why I like a scene of exposition. But the long and short of it is, Terminator 2 is definitely one of the best action sequels you could possibly have, with the possible exception of maybe the Die Hard movies or Lethal Weapon, which came out around the same time as the second Terminator film. So, and of course, they should also mention that Linda Hamilton, of course, played Sarah Connor, was really, beefed up in the role. In terms of she really worked out. She was a beautiful woman to start with, but she really, really, really worked out, and she really built up her body for the movie. You see the muscles ripping her up. And she was kind of like Sigourney Weaver in the Alien movies, where really, the quote Schwarzenegger, she really pumped her up, in this movie, and she looked even hotter than she did in the first Terminator film. That's humanly possible. So that's my review of Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Please click on the video, please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video on your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews and on my YouTube channel at RowdyC.com, that's all WDY, then C.com. Homepage and Rowdy Reviewer, Chris Lee Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.